Hey everybody, there's my cameraman Gary. He's doing a little bit of power hammer work. First time on the hammer, just had him over on the stretching side, getting used to the pedal. We're going to see what he does on the shrinking side now. A little bit of a learning curve on a hammer, as everybody knows, but he's starting here, and we'll see what happens. Hey guys, that was just a little bit of footage of Gary on the power hammer, and when he gets a few more hours on that, he'll be able to make pieces like this in no time. This is the right side front cab corner for the FC project, and this is right off the hammer, no planishing, no smoothing out yet, just very rough fitting for right now. And I'm starting basically from the back here, because I want to make sure the arch, when this wheelhouse comes down, is going to fit this perfect here. That's kind of critical, and I've got it fitting the door opening real well here. And like I say, it's very rough at this stage. No smoothing done at all. But I think you can see the basic shape is there. Very dark under here, but the basic shape is there, and I'll fine tune it from here. I just wanted to have something in place here. This floor has to be changed, so I want to make sure this fits the floor before I take the floor out. So it's a sequence. And this right here is my critical part I want right now, because I'm going to start working on the wheel arch right now, and I want to know that this is right. So I've got it real close, and I'm going to go over to the bench, put Gary on the camera, and I'm going to explain the best I can how to make this wheel arch. So hang in there, I'll be right back with you. Okay guys, this is the next piece we're going to make on the FC. The front cab corner is roughed in pretty good. This wheelhouse was in tough shape. This section was just flapping around. There's a big tear right here. So this was just a process of drilling out all the spot welds. I think you can see all the spot welds on there. I flattened it out. And from there I made a pattern, a hard pattern out of some 24 gauge galvanized steel, just so I could have something to trace around and make a good piece. And it's got some holes that we need, and it's got all the parts that we need. And then from the original, I took all my dimensions where the beads are going to go and where the bends have to go, and that's on a piece of cardboard. And on this side, you see that, Gary?
Yes.
On this side, I have the actual arch, the layout and the curve that it needs to be. So this has all my critical dimensions on it. And from there, I have a piece of 16 gauge cold rolled steel. These are the beads. And then after that, we'll do some flanging. But getting the beads in a curved piece of metal can be kind of tricky. I'm going to show you the size of the bead. You see that all right, Gary?
Yeah, let me zoom in a little bit. There you go.
Okay, this is a massive bead. It's going to disturb this panel quite a bit. It's a stop bead, so it's not going from end to end on the panel. So this is really going to mess up this panel basically. Getting this large bead in there is going to be quite a process, and it's 16 gauge, and it has a curve to it. Now I made a couple samples. This is what happens. You got that?
Yeah.
When you put a bead in a curved piece of metal, or when you curve any piece of metal, thick metal, thin metal, when you curve a piece of metal and try and put a bead in it, the bead is going to sink down in there. Can you pick that up, Gary?
Yeah.
Can you see the ends coming up?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what happens when you put a bead in a curved piece of metal. This side here and this side here look like they're up, and the bead is going to sink down in there. So that was one sample with nothing done to it. And then I tried this piece here. And you can see what a disaster that'll be. The panel will be all distorted and stuff if we just put that bead and roll the panel. And the bead is so big, I can't roll the panel and then put it through the pull max, because the size of the bead just straightens the panel out again. So that's going to be tricky. So what I did on this one, I did a little bit of pre-stretching, but you see it's still a mess. And so I'm going to put the beads in flat, then I'm going to take it over to slip roll, and I'm going to put the curve in there, the radius. Before I can put the bead in there, I need to pre-stretch the panel. You see the amount of stretch. So I'm going to do that over the power hammer. So I'm going to stretch the panel first, and that's going to raise there. I'm going to put the bead in when the panel is flat, and then we're going to take it to the slip roll, and we're going to get the right radius. But it takes a massive amount of stretching to get it to where it won't mess up the panel. Here's another little sample piece, and you can see it's getting a little bit better.
Now you put that through the slip roll?
This went through the slip roll after I put the bead in, but I didn't stretch it enough. You see the sides are a little bit puckered up there.
Does that distort the beads when you put it through the slip roll?
Not at all. The bead's flat on the top there, so it rolls right. You just set the wheels, the rolls open. It doesn't distort the bead at all because it's flat on top anyway. If it was really profile, it would mess it up. But we're lucky that this one is a flat bead. So, from all my sample pieces, I came up with a huge amount of stretching necessary, and you can see how much stretching that's going to take.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we need to pre-stretch it so that we're not gathering metal from everywhere and then making a mess of it when we put it through the slip roll. It's a tricky piece. The 16 gauge makes it a little more difficult. And there's no straight edges on this panel. There's nowhere that I can put this up against a fence on the pull max. This edge has a curve to it. This front edge is not straight, so I'm going to have to clamp a piece of wood or a piece of metal to this to run it through and get the bead straight. But for right now, I'm just going to freehand this through the power hammer with a very sharp die on it, and I'm going to stretch it. We'll try and keep it centered perfectly in the black lines, and just keep wailing on that thing until we have a bunch of material raised up and stretched, and we'll be ready for the beading. So I'm going to head over to the power hammer, and we're going to set up for that, and I'll show you how I stretch that. Okay guys, I got a small sample piece here. We're just going to show you what's going to happen. I started pre-stretching it. I'll run another pre-stretch line here, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay guys, I'm going to try and show you what it looks like to stretch a bead here. I'm going to try and keep my hand out of the way. And here we go. Okay, I think we got it figured out. See, you got a shot of that? Okay, we're going to grab the real piece now, set up for that, and be right back with you. Okay guys, this piece is a little too big for me to handle by myself. I'm going to have Gary come over and hold the end of it. And we are going to pre-stretch all these beads. Like I say, it's a big piece and it's 16 gauge. But we'll try and get it done. You ready, Gary?
Yep.
That should do it. Ready when you are. Okay guys, this is what the panel looks like after the beads. It looks like it's a disaster right now, but we're going to work it into shape. Beads are in the right place now. The 16 gauge is a little bit more difficult to work with than most, but beads are in. I've got a little bit of work to do at the ends of the beads. They get tapered down, and I'll do that by hand later. The sheet is all over the place right now, but it's going to change when we start sending it through the slip roll to get the wheel arch in there. So this is where it's at right now. Everything looks like it's in the right place, so we'll just continue on, and I'll show you how we go from a mangled up looking sheet like this to a finished product. So hang in there, and we'll take it step by step. Okay guys, we're over at the slip roll now. I got Gary doing the manual labor, turning the crank. Go for it, Gary. We're just starting to get the curve in this wheelhouse. I think you can see it coming in nicely like that. And we're just going to keep picking away at this little by little, testing it to the template, because it's easier to put more curve in than take some out. So we're just going to tickle this along until we get the right arch in there, and I'll be back with you and show you what that looks like when it's done. Okay guys, just want to show you our layout line. There it is there. We are right on the money. And there is our piece with the arch rolled into it. Here it is on the other side. And there's a bunch more to do. I got to put some flange edges in there. I've got to put some welded nut plate under the seat bracket. And there's still a bunch of stuff to do to this, but I just wanted to show you what the completed piece looks like. Okay, as far as stretching and beating it, there is the completed piece. And I'll take you along and show you everything else I do to it, and then how it goes in the vehicle. We're going to plug weld this in because we can't get a spot welder into the areas. So we're going to end this one today, and I will pick up next time putting the details on this piece and putting it in the vehicle. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.